Who will cry when you die?
Wow.
It's a heavy question to find on the cover of a book. It feels a little confrontational, doesn't it?
It really does. It definitely stops you in your tracks.
Yeah,
But I think that's kind of the point.
like a splash of cold water.
Exactly.
And it pairs so perfectly with the quote that anchors the very first page of the book we're diving into today. It's from Norman Cousins.
I remember this one.
He wrote, "The tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live."
And that distinction is just, it's everything, really.
Yeah.
So today we're unpacking Who Will Cry When You Die by Robin Sharma.
Most people probably know him from The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Right. That was the fable, the story, this book.
Yeah.
This is the manual. He took all that philosophy and just, distilled it into 101 very specific, very tactical chapters.
And just to set expectations for you listening, we are not going to read a list of 101 things.
No, that would be exhausting.
Right. We've gone through and pulled out the strategies that felt, well, truly counterintuitive. We want to move past the generic be kind advice and get into the real mechanics of how you stop, as Sharma puts it, sliding through life and start deciding how to live.
Exactly. The mission here is to bridge that gap between knowing what to do, because let's be honest, we all know we should exercise and be nice,
Sure.
and actually doing it. It's all about preventing regret.
So let's start with that title. It implies this huge focus on the end. Is this entire book just a meditation on death? Because that sounds like a tough sell for a morning commute.
It's surprisingly not about death in a morbid way. Sharma uses mortality more like a productivity tool?
A productivity tool.
Yeah. He argues the only way to live with real urgency is to keep the end in mind. He shares this fascinating, almost bizarre story about an Indian Maharaja.
The living funeral.
That's the one.
I have to admit, when I read this, I thought, okay, this is a bit much. You should tell everyone what he did.
So every single morning, right after waking up, this Maharaja would celebrate his own funeral.
He didn't just think about it, he staged it.
He staged it, music playing, flowers laid out, the whole atmosphere. And he would chant to himself, "I have lived fully. I have lived fully."
See, to me, that sounds borderline obsessive. Why would you want to start your day fresh out of bed thinking about your own funeral?
It sounds theatrical, I totally agree. But Sharma explains that the idea wasn't that the Maharaja was obsessed with death, it was about connection. By connecting with his own mortality first thing, he ensured he wouldn't waste the next 16 hours.
It's a shock to the system.
A total shock. You're way less likely to, doom scroll for an hour or argue about dirty dishes if you've just vividly acknowledged that this day isn't guaranteed.
So it's high-stakes prioritization.
Exactly. It reminds me of the Stoics. Sharma actually quotes Plato, who said, "Practice dying." The point isn't to be depressed. It's to use the idea of death to clarify how you live now.
And that clarity leads to a distinction Sharma makes that I found really, really useful. The difference between legitimacy and legacy.
Ah, yes. This is a trap so many high performers fall into. He suggests that for the first 50 years of life, most of us are just chasing legitimacy.
The titles, the prestige, the nice car.
All the material proof that we matter. We're building a resume.
But a resume isn't a legacy. You don't read a resume at a funeral.
You absolutely do not. Legacy is what happens when you shift from what can I get to what can I leave. And Sharma's argument is, don't wait. Write a legacy statement right now.
How is that different from, say, a mission statement? I feel like we all have one of those sitting in a drawer somewhere.
A mission statement is usually present tense. I want to lead a creative team. A legacy statement is a script for what remains when you're gone. It forces you to reverse engineer your life from the finish line.
So you decide what people will say about you when you're gone, and then you work backward to make it true today.
Precisely. And that requires a massive perspective shift. There's a story in the book that illustrates this perfectly. The two men in the hospital room.
Oh, that one definitely stuck with me.
It's powerful.
You have two men, both seriously ill, sharing a room. One is stuck on his back, can't move. The other has the bed by the only window.
And every day, the man by the window sits up and just describes what he sees outside.
He talks about this beautiful park, a lake, kids sailing model boats, lovers walking through flowers. He paints this incredibly vivid world.
And the man on his back, he lives for these reports. It becomes his whole world. He keeps his spirits up.
But then the man by the window passes away.
Yeah.
And the other man, he asks the nurse if he can be moved to the window bed. He wants to finally see it all for himself. He drags himself up, painfully looks out.
It's just a brick wall.
A brick wall. The first man made it all up.
He did, but here's the crucial part. He didn't do it to lie or to trick him. He did it purely to bring joy to his friend. It was an act of selfless love.
It really reframes the whole idea of being realistic, doesn't it?
It's about the discipline of perspective. And that word discipline is the perfect bridge here, because you can't maintain that kind of perspective if you're exhausted and running on caffeine. We need to talk about the Platinum 30.
This is Sharma's non-negotiable morning routine.
The first 30 minutes of your day. He uses this great analogy from the movie Everest.
Right, the base camp concept.
Exactly. You can't just sprint to the summit of Everest. You have to go to base camp, to acclimatize, to rest, to recharge. If you skip it, you die.
And the morning is your personal base camp.
It is. You can't climb the mountain of your workday without it.
Okay, so this brings us to the part I know some of our listeners, the night owls, are going to resist. The 5 a.m. club.
I knew you'd bring that up. It's polarizing.
It is. Is the time 5 a.m. magic, or is it just about waking up earlier than you do now? Because, frankly, 5 a.m. sounds painful.
Sharma is pretty adamant about rising with the sun, but I think the underlying principle is solitude. He tells this story about a marketing exec who was a total late riser. Always stressed, always reactive.
And she forced herself to shift to 5 a.m.
She did, and her stress levels just plummeted. She won a Most Improved Player award at her agency. It wasn't just about waking up. It was having time before the world moved demands on her.
So her cup was already full by the time her phone started buzzing.
That's a perfect way to put it. She wasn't running on empty.
Okay, let's get tactical. If I wake up at 5 a.m., what am I actually supposed to be doing? I'm not just sitting there trying not to fall back asleep.
You need a protocol. He suggests creating a sanctuary, a specific spot that isn't your bed. And the routine is specific. First, 15 minutes of silence, just contemplating the day. Then you read wisdom literature.
Wisdom literature, so taking the news on my phone does not count.
Definitely not. We will get to the news in a second. But no, he means timeless works. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Walden, philosophy, things that ground you.
And then there's the fuel recommendation.
A juice, yes, fresh fruit juice. Specifically strawberry apple or orange grape.
That seems oddly specific.
It does, but his point is about viewing your body as a performance vehicle. You wouldn't put cheap gas in a Formula One car. It's a signal to yourself that you value your energy.
Okay, speaking of psychology, let's talk about what clogs up our mental engine. We've done our morning routine, we feel good, and then anxiety hits.
Yes, the information overload. This is where Sharma has two tactics I think are brilliant. First, schedule worry breaks.
You want me to put worry on my calendar like it's a meeting?
It sounds paradoxical, but it addresses that constant low-grade background anxiety. Sharma's father taught him this amazing linguistic connection. In Sanskrit, the character for funeral pyre is almost identical to the character for worry.
Really? That's fascinating.
And the saying goes, one burns the dead while the other burns the living.
Wow, that is a haunting image.
It is. So the tactic is containment. You don't suppress worry. That never works. Instead, you schedule it. Say 6000 to 6:30 p.m. That's your time to wallow.
Oh, only during that window.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you start spiraling at 10 a.m., you catch yourself, write it down, and say, I'll panic about this at 6 p.m.
And I imagine by the time 6 p.m. rolls around.
The urge is often past, or the problem solved itself. It just strips the worry of its immediate power.
The other tactic for this is the news fast.
Simple challenge. Go 7 days without reading or watching negative news.
I can just hear the objection, but I need to be informed.
And Sharma's counter is, you don't need to be that informed. If something truly world-changing happens, someone will tell you.
You won't miss the big stuff.
You won't. The goal is to break the addiction to the negativity cycle. He promises that after a week, your serenity just skyrockets.
It's so true. We mistake doom scrolling for being responsible.
Right. It keeps the monkey mind active, and if your mind is still jumping all over, he has a drill for that too. Focused reading.
I tried this one. It is humbling.
It's a focus audit. You take a book, and every single time your mind wanders, you make a little check mark in the margin.
My page would be absolutely covered in marks.
That's the point. You can't fix what you aren't aware of. It gamifies building concentration. You want few
relationships. Because all this internal work, it's about you. But Sharma puts a huge emphasis on connection.
He does. He treats relationships like a bank account. He calls it the love account.
Which sounds a bit transactional, doesn't it?
It can, but the metaphor holds up. Relationships usually fail because of neglect, not one big event. You have to make small deposits.
Listening without interrupting, leaving a note.
Those little things. He quotes the saying, the hand that gives is the hand that gathers.
Meaning you have to initiate.
You do. This connects to his three great friends rule. His
Yeah.
father used to say that if you have three truly great friends, you're rich.
But making friends as an adult is just, it's awkward.
It is, which is why he insists on being the icebreaker. He tells this great story about his mother. She had a flat tire and had to ask a total stranger if she could leave her car in their driveway.
Most of us would just call a tow truck and hide in the car.
Exactly. But she knocked. And after the car was fixed, she went back to thank the woman with a small gift. They ended up having tea.
And they became lifelong friends.
Lifelong friends. All because she took that tiny social risk. His point is, go first.
And that applies to networking, too, with his idea of the hero list.
Yes, the 6 degrees of separation idea. We're all just a few people away from anyone. He says you should write a list of 100 people you want to meet.
100 seems like a lot.
The goal isn't to hunt them down, it's to prime your brain. It's the reticular activating system. Once you write the names down, you start spotting opportunities you would have missed before.
So it's not magic, it's just focused attention.
Precisely. You don't see what you aren't looking for.
Okay, I want to move into our last section, the ones we called counterintuitive habits. And the first one is, become an imposter.
This is his take on fake it till you make it, but he grounds it in psychology. He brings up the famous Stanford prison experiment.
Now, we should probably note that study has been heavily criticized over the years.
It has, absolutely. But the core finding about role adoption is still pretty relevant here. In the experiment, students assigned to be guards started acting cruel. The role dictated the behavior.
So Sharma's point isn't about prisons, it's about acting your way into a new way of thinking.
Exactly. If acting like a guard makes you cruel, then acting like a confident person can trigger those actual feelings. Posture, smiling, they're inputs that change your internal state.
Okay, so act the part. Here's one I loved because it validates my own bad habits. Don't finish every book.
This is such a liberating rule. He quotes Francis Bacon, who said, "Some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested."
I think so many of us feel guilty if we stop at chapter 3, like we failed a test.
Sharma says to let that go. If a book isn't giving you value, put it down. You're saving your time for the heroic books, the ones that actually change you.
And finally, the weekly sabbatical. And he's not talking about a religious thing necessarily.
No, he's talking about deep rest. In our 24/7 culture, we don't really rest, we just numb out with screens. A sabbatical is a few hours where you do only things that feed your soul.
No grocery shopping, no checking email.
None of it. Visiting a bookstore, watching a sunrise, walking in the woods. It's recreation, creating yourself again.
So we've covered a lot. Living funerals, scheduled worry, acting like an imposter. How do we tie this all together?
The through line is that a meaningful life isn't about one giant event. You don't just wake up one day and suddenly have a legacy.
It's the micro habits.
Exactly. The discipline of the morning, the small notes of appreciation, managing a worrisome thought. Sharma quotes the golfer Ben Hogan, who said, "As you walk down the fairway of life, you must smell the roses, for you only get to play one round."
One round. That brings us right back to the title.
It does. The scarcity of time is what makes all these small actions matter so much.
Before we wrap, I want to leave you with one last image from the book. It's the story about Sharma and his young son at a restaurant.
The bread story. It's a great one.
Yeah. So Sharma is sitting there, totally stressed, mind a million miles away, and he watches his 4-year-old son with the bread basket. What does the kid do?
He scoops out the soft, warm, fluffy middle of the bread, and he just leaves the crusts in a pile on the plate.
He ignores the hard parts. And Sharma has this huge realization. As adults, we fixate on the crust. The bills, the traffic, the hardships. We chew on the tough stuff all day.
And we forget to eat the middle. The joy, the present moment, the people we love, the child just instinctively knows to go for the good stuff.
So that's our question for you today. Are you chewing on the crust? Or are you brave enough to focus on the good stuff?
Model the child. Eat the middle.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.